Welcome to the Pickleball Recovery Podcast, where we highlight products and practices to help you feel better faster, so you can spend less time stiff, sore, and injured, and more time on the court doing what you love. This podcast is sponsored by Zamst. Zamst reinforces and protects athletes by providing premium technical products in the form of athletic braces and supports derived from innovative materials, designs, and manufacturing processes for the ankle, knee, elbow, and more. Find out more about these high-quality products built to prevent injury, improve performance, and ultimately help you spend more time on the court at www.zamst.us. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Pickleball Recovery. I'm your host, Tim Ringgold. How you doing? Did you play any pickleball today? I hope so. Weather permitting, I'm going to get out and play some myself today. Looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to you learning about the magic, that I experienced at the PPA Finals in December of 2023 under the care of Dr. Jody Danese. And so this is going to be great because, listen, I've been exposed to a lot of different things, and what Jody did with me at her table at the tournament was like uncharted waters times 3 for me. So I'm really excited to pass this on to you. Today, you're going to learn about 3 very specific treatments that you can receive that can help your body really kickstart recovery. Because you probably don't rest long enough. None of us do. And as we age, it takes longer and longer for the body to recover. So any kind of, tools, modalities, things that we can do to speed up that process, game on. Well, you're going to hear about 3 of them today. So very excited for you. Like, take out your pencil and paper, you know what I'm saying? And really take notes. Because I think this will be really valuable. It has been a game changer for me. And since I met Dr. Jody, we originally recorded this podcast at the tournament, but we had like massive logistical issues with wind knocking like the video tripod over, turning off the camera without us even realizing. So we I went back to her clinic here in Newport Beach, California, and received a second treatment from her. And then we did the interview in her clinic. And so that's where you're going to catch up with us here in a few seconds. But man, I'm so grateful that I met her because she's able to do things with my body right now in like record time that I haven't had done yet. So here we go. Sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side. Dr. Jody Danese, welcome to Pickleball Recovery.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, great to be back with you again. Here we are. We're chilling out in your very comfortable lounge chairs. What do we call these?
This is the waiting room.
This is the waiting room. This is the most chill waiting room I've ever been in, for the record. And this is the most chill waiting chair I've ever sat in. So kudos to thinking about the before experience of your patients. We're here in Newport Beach, California. We met at the PPA Finals in San Clemente in December. The time of this recording, it's January of 2024. It was basically about a month ago at this point. Mm-hmm. And we had chatted on Instagram back and forth because you had treated a fellow Orange County pro, Connor Garnett. And somehow I saw that feed and I reached out to you because I figured, she's like a body mechanic. And I consider myself like this classic car that I'm still trying to get as many RPMs out of as possible. Right. I used to call it a hot rod, but I don't think it qualifies anymore. I think it's now just a classic car.
You're too hard on yourself.
There you go. So what was great was I played in senior pro singles on Thursday night, and then I had to come back Friday morning to play senior pro doubles. And I hadn't played much singles because of my head injury, so I was out of shape. And I did well, which is kind of like a blessing and a curse because the better you play, the longer you play. And so I played like a ridiculous number of matches, and I lost in the bronze medal match, and it went 3. And as I'm hobbling off the court, there you are. And you were like, Tim Ringgold? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, I'm Dr. Jody Danese. We've talked on Instagram. I was like, oh, yeah. And then you're like, I have a booth. I have a table. Do you need some work? And I was like, oh. It was like the angels just, came down and was like, come this way. Come this way. So we walked just luckily. I mean, it was like kismet, right? Meant to be. We go like 30 seconds and suddenly we're in your booth and you're like, I don't even think you had to ask what's going on because you could just see all of the brush fires that were like on fire. And you were like, let me treat you, please. So we began to work. Why don't you take it from there? And I don't want you to be nice. I want you to because I will tell everybody how bad it was. But like, what did you notice right away when you got me on the table? What was your experience of my body as a machine?
Well, he was pretty beat up for sure, and a little dehydrated for sure.
Yep.
But I had my hands full. I like to say that I'm the body whisperer because I do look at the whole body and not only balance the structure and the alignment as far as the chiropractic goes, but realign muscles and. It's sort of like that nursery rhyme, if anybody can remember that, where your ankle bone's connected to the knee bone and the knee. So you have to follow.
Okay.
You have to follow. You don't just, you have a knee problem. Okay, let's work on the knee. And so that being said, I think I worked on you for like an hour.
Yeah.
It was like, I think the longest I've ever worked on anybody because it was like this roadmap of, there's a problem over here, there's a problem over here, and then you have to figure out how they're all integrated and working off of each other. And so, basically that was it. And then there was the concussions so that you had, and that's, a whole treatment in of itself.
Yeah.
And, basically too, to be fair with your body, I mean, but let's just face it, your personality is to take it to the limits.
Yes.
And pound it and ignore it. And the longevity in that isn't that great.
Nope.
And that's been your newfound kind of, I guess, passion to talk about this.
Yep.
And that's why I'm here.
Yep.
And that's my passion. I love working with athletes because, I can get their injuries better and get them, keep them playing in their sport. But then just the follow up with that, just have them play at their highest and best. And it's just very gratifying for me to see that, which I totally saw that weekend because the good players and pros that I worked on all placed gold and silver.
Wow. So,
it was, and they all came back and we took pictures and they were thankful and whatnot. But, that's what it's all about. So, I started talking about the concussion because the brain's the computer. So if you have an injury in your head, nothing's going to work. Your digestion will be off. Your sleep will be off, as you know, because you've been through this.
Yep.
And to step on the field, after, or the court, after going through that, that's a warrior, first of all.
Thank you.
It's a warrior for sure. And so you got to keep working with the brain because it really integrates the whole body. So I think the key to what we did that night was I also addressed that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we did lots of fun things.
And we got some great pictures.
We did get some great.
Because I have a cryo machine, a focal cryo machine, and so we did, and it was nighttime, and we did the head, and I know you're going to post a picture, but it was a real cool picture.
It was, no pun intended. So let's start there. Let's just because you brought it up. Like, so you guys will see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the picture of Dr. Jody working on my head here. And so cryo and having a portable cryo tank is super cool because I've gone, to a cryo facility, gone into the chamber. Cool. But that's like, you got to drive, to somewhere, but to literally walk off court and get treatment right away was amazing. So let's talk about cryo real quickly, benefits and what's happening. Okay,
well, just a real easy explanation is when you take away the inflammation of something, like especially like you said, right off the court, icing is good because you reduce the inflammation before it has a chance to really realize it was there. Like if the quicker you get on it, the faster you're going to heal, faster the recovery.
Got it.
And so it reduces the swelling and the inflammation, but it creates a hyper, especially the machine that I have. I mean, because ice is one thing, but I have a Sub-Zero machine, so it brings just like 30 seconds, is enough at the temperatures that it uses to create a hyperimmune system response. And that's the key.
Okay.
So that it rushes in all the soldiers right away and, takes care of business right away. The thing with this machine that I have, because I just recently bought it, I upgraded, it has all the sensors in it. It has a biofeedback system in it. So it knows, it tells by light, like blue is optimum temperature.
Yep.
If it turns red, meaning I'm too close or I need to move to a different body part.
Gotcha.
That it's now done. And I love that too.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
And today we did a cryo session just a follow-up here in your office. And one of the things we noticed was different body parts that I'm struggling with today took longer for the
optimum temperature
and for the red light to eventually come on and say, we're now too cold. And what you had explained to me is that that's because those areas were more inflamed and it took the cryo longer to cool it off, essentially.
And we're just talking seconds, but
yeah,
because we just did 30-second intervals. But I noticed that, this one isn't responding as fast. So it's got more inflammation.
Inflammation. Yeah, great.
But the key to thing is, and especially when I got you right off the court, is I put every joint into alignment.
Yes.
And balanced the muscles and then did the cryo, which, rushed in all those soldiers and brought down the inflammation and stimulated the hyperimmune response to heal.
Yep.
While you're in alignment. So all the muscles, the joints, the ligaments, the tendons are in place and are able to heal and repair in alignment.
Now, that's really important to talk about in terms of like in alignment, because now your part of your professional background is chiropractic, right? Doctor of chiropractic. So when people hear alignment, it's, for me as a patient and as an athlete, I usually think chiropractic and I usually think spine, and I don't think past that.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Because it's very much like you have a subluxation between two of your vertebrae, and that's preventing the nerve sending the right information to the body part, whatever. But you don't hear about that. What about the alignment of, now I've heard alignment of the joints, like your knees out of alignment, but I haven't heard like tendons, muscles. And so this was what was really fascinating for me to work with you. And that's why I was like body mechanic right away, was that you were doing really subtle things with this kind of clicker. Instrument, without doing the classic, what you'd think of when you think chiropractic and you see someone getting their back, they're adjusted. And yet my limbs worked way better, right? Like almost like by the time you got done with me, I could tell I was walking better. I was moving better. Today, when you worked on my elbow immediately moved better. And you used an analogy today about alignment that blew my mind because of its eloquence. And it's like anybody can relate to that. So share the car alignment, because as we're talking about me being a classic car, that alignment was that analogy is perfect.
That works. So if you bump your tires in your car and you throw your car out of alignment, and you don't get it fixed and put it back into alignment, you're driving and putting lots of miles on those tires, and they're wearing funny. They're going to wear on one side more than the other side.
Yep.
And the longevity of the tire that you invested in is going to be less.
Yeah.
So
a lot less. Yeah.
So it's the same thing, like when there's torque on the knee, torque on the shoulder, any joint, when there's torque, then there's more strain on the tendons that the muscles feed into the joint and the ligaments that keep the joint together, and it creates inflammation. And at some point, they're going to snap and give out.
Yep.
And so, a lot of people just say, oh, this hurts, I'll just rest it for a little bit and get back on the court later.
Right.
But it's really just, it behooves you just, that's why my passion is to educate, just to keep up with it and, get your body checked, whether you have pain or not, because then you prevent it.
Yes.
And then all the things that I have, all the technologies that I have in the center are just to bring you to play your best and longest and have the most fun out of your sport with longevity, because I do have the therapies. I do have quantum healing protocols, frequency medicine, drops that you can take to download the correction, as well as, devices,
right?
With, the lasers and the frequency devices, and then my quantum healing systems that I have here. So,
which we've barely scratched the surface just working with me on. And
right.
we were definitely going to do a future podcast episode about the quantum.
And then we also did NAD on you.
Yes.
That day. I said, go home, do this. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm going to throw an NAD patch on you. So the thing with the NAD is it's very expensive, because it's usually given in an IV, which is a slow drip.
Okay.
You have to drip it slow because it's too much, for the body. Yeah, you'll get nauseous, this and that.
Yep.
And so that's why it's expensive. But there's a company that I have that I use, that it's a fresh frozen. They deliver to you frozen, and then you put it on an ionic patch. So there's no preservatives in this.
Okay.
So anything that's, in a facility that's doing IVs and such, it's got a shelf life. It's got preservatives in it.
Gotcha.
So that's the cool thing about this, is that there's no preservatives, but it's also it's fresh. Mm-hmm. And it's done on an ionic patch, so it brings the cost down tremendously.
So what is an ionic patch?
An ionic patch is got this little ionic device in it where when you pull this, it takes the energy and crosses to the other side and infuses it into the body.
Okay.
And you wear it on your foot. And
yep.
you thought, oh, am I going to be able to work on the court with this?
Yeah, I was worried.
And I said, well, if it bothers you, take it off.
Right.
But I've never had that experience happen yet. So.
No. And I have very delicate, sensitive feet. And and when I first walked out on the court with it, for like the first 5 seconds, right, I'm starting to just, warm up some things. I'm like, oh, there's something on my foot. And then about second number 6, I forgot all about it. And I never thought about it again. And I ended up leaving it on longer than I was supposed to. I just forgot how long I was supposed to leave it on, so I just left it on. It was on for like 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my foot wasn't even annoyed because where you put it on the arch, it was just like, it was perfect. And so let's talk about, what does NAD do for the athlete? How does it help? How did it help me? Because it definitely did.
Well, NAD is in every cell in the body, but it's really good for brain recovery, concussions, and things like that, which was kind of why I wanted you to have it too. Yes. But I also wanted to bump up your energy for the tournament.
Yep.
And it's natural, and it's subtle. It's just subtle. But normally, how this works is you have to have a few days in a row to bump up the levels.
Got it.
And then after that, when you want it once a week, once a month, you'll get a more profound effect because you've kept your levels high.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
But for athletes, they're taking their body to the extreme anyways. There's a subtle difference I think athletes feel, even if they didn't bump it up, because like you didn't do days in a row.
Right.
So.
No, we only got to do 2 days.
Yeah.
But it was still helpful. Now, we should tell everybody, so the rest of the story, which is that Thursday night singles, we started at noon, which is a late start for singles bracket. I played into the dark and then had to be back out. The men's doubles bracket started at 10. You worked on me probably, like you said, over an hour on Thursday night. Went home. I did an ice bath with Epsom salt. I did my PEMF mat, and then I got 8 hours of sleep and a lot of hydrating. You were telling me hydrate. So I did a lot of hydrating, a lot of minerals, did electrolytes, came back the next morning, and I could not believe how well I moved on court Friday morning. I mean, I was incredulous because I was able to do everything I thought, and there was nothing hindering me. And I was having no secondary conversation. Yeah. And my partner and I took silver.
And that was my first time taking silver in men's doubles at the senior pro level. And so that was a definite like personal best moment.
I didn't know that.
And it was very cool because the tournament before my concussion, I had taken silver in singles and in senior pro. And it was my first senior pro medal. And so I was really stoked about that because it helped me get over that imposter syndrome. Do I belong here? Yeah, you belong. You were on the podium. So I was able to accomplish that in singles. And then I go through this crazy, I don't know how 7-month journey with my head. And then it's the end of the year already. And I got one tournament left. And I ended up taking 4th in singles and 2nd in doubles. And to go out on that high note after the year I had was such a great feeling. It was just such a nice way to wrap up the year. But we touched on this point, which is there are 2 battles taking place on the court. And there's the battle that you have with your opponents. And then there's the battle you have with your body. And like, if you don't, like, one of the things I try to explain to people is like, you want your headspace. You need your headspace to be 100% opponent. Mm-hmm. Has to be, because the game is so subtle and it's so quick, and the moments of opportunity and decision making come and go so fast that you have to be able to, someone takes you inside for a dink and then they put you outside. You have to be early to that outside ball. You can't be late, or else you're going to dump it in the net, or you're going to hit a pop-up, or you're out of position on the next ball. Like, you have to be right on top of that, and you can't be fighting 2 battles at the same time. You're not going to win. And what I felt like on Friday morning was like Thursday when I played Morgan in the bronze medal match, I was fighting 2 battles, 100%. Mm-hmm. And
your body's ability to do what you want it to do, battle, and your opponent battle.
Yep. And Morgan was only fighting 1. He had energy in the tank. He in reserves. He thought, this is so funny. He didn't realize it was the bronze medal match. He thought he was now going to the next match to come back to try to get to gold. He didn't even know his night was over. So he was like preparing himself, like he had more energy in the tank. I was like, I knew this was the last match. I won game 1. I stole game 1, frankly. And then I knew, and I could see after game 1, he just got mad. Like, he took it up a notch. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is rough. And I hung in there. I think I got 6 points in the second game. And I was on E. I was on fire. And I made a joke, let's make this game to 5, because I knew I just didn't have it in the tank anymore. And I could see he was playing just 100% pickleball, and he wasn't playing this, this battle against the body, and I was. But on Friday, after working with you, on Friday, I played 0 battle against my body, and I played 100% pickleball all the way through to the gold medal match. And I just can't remember a tournament where I had a turnaround that fast, where I felt so bad that night and then felt so good that quickly the next morning. I haven't had that kind of success like ever.
Yeah.
So kudos to the work you did. Yeah, it was just obvious to me that my headspace was free to just focus, play, just
get the job done,
make the right decision, and then hopefully execute that decision properly.
Yay.
Yeah, that was really cool. And fast, we'll do a second episode on this, but you had treated one of my opponents in the gold medal match.
I know, this was because I was visualizing that night that you're going to take gold.
Yep.
Then I saw you that morning, put the patch on you, blah, blah, blah. And I went back to my booth, and then I came over. I'm going to go see what's going on.
Right.
And who you were playing was somebody else that I worked on.
Uh-huh.
And, not in nearly the situation you were in, like he had a few things, not much.
No.
Anyway, but I also have this quantum healing system in my center, and I set up a mini one at the tournament, the booth next to me.
Yep.
And, basically I told him, I said, if you have time, go in there and it's a quantum healing system. What you think about, you can manifest. I go, think about playing the perfect game, what you want to see you do on the court.
Yeah.
And so he goes, okay, and he went in there, and, he only spent like 20 minutes in there. And so anyway, I see you're playing him, he and his partner. And
yeah.
I went, oh no. I'm like, and so, then I went back to my booth and I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
And then, the person that I treated's partner came over to my booth first.
Okay.
And said, thank you for working on my partner. He played the best game of his life. And I'm so excited that you worked on him. And I went, really? And I tapped him on the shoulder. I kind of went, aha, you're just kidding with that. Because I didn't know if he was kidding or serious the way he said it.
Right.
And he goes, oh, no, 100%. It was his best game ever. And I'm like, really cool.
Wow.
And so I just have a feeling that element of that extra little quantum manifesting, co-creating in there, did that. But I was like, when I saw you playing him, I went, oh no. Hopefully, so you got silver. So
yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. I mean, but to your point, it's like a, high five to you that the number of people that you worked on at that tournament who came back to you with a medal around their neck.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's really cool. And that's one of the things and I'm preaching to the choir because those who are listening to this have probably listened to a prior episode, but when you move better, you play better.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the underlying theme of this. Now, when we circle back to like alignment and we're talking about that it's more than just the spine. What are some things, if people are in Orange County, they can come see you, but a lot of listeners aren't in Orange County, right? So what are some things that they can do that are easy to keep this idea of keeping their body in alignment? Or, whether it's who should they go seek out? Are there any kind of stretches or exercises that you recommend they can do at home? Mm-hmm. How do we stay in alignment?
Well, first just addressing mobility. So stretching is good. Yoga is really good.
Okay.
So the thing is most athletes, unless you're a pro, do a very minimal amount of prep work.
Yes.
Okay. And then they jump on the court, right?
Yes, they do.
So the thing to do would be to add yoga sessions, and you can find them, you don't have to go to a place. You can find them online,
Absolutely.
I mean, now with this, and then COVID, everybody learned how to do things at home.
Yes.
So that's what's really cool, is just to get in a regime of doing even 15 minutes and a half an hour,
Yep.
3 times a week would be awesome.
Nice.
So that sets you up for success there. Just keeping the muscles, flexible so you don't pull something out of alignment. But what I do is all chiropractic works whenever you relieve the nervous and the nerve flow, the spinal nerves, because the spinal nerves are the connection from the brain to the body.
Okay.
The body heals, okay? But I use a technique called activator method, which uses an instrument.
Okay.
Now, there are chiropractors that have the instrument that they use,
Yep.
but they're not true activator doctors. And I have to say that because
Okay.
like a lot of doctors that are manual adjusting doctors will have one of those to get something to go that they can't get manually. And so people go, oh, I've had that.
Right.
Even with people that have had the activator method,
Yep.
which it uses this form of kinesiology and your nervous system tells me what you need kind of thing, has also gotten off of my table and said, I've had that before, but I've never had that. And that's because I've been doing it for 30 plus years. I've Jodified it. And like I said, I get into the body. I put my brain and my intuition into the body, and I hunt and peck.
Yep.
And if that person's not better after my treatment,
Yep.
I go, oh, well, get back on the table because I haven't found it. And that's when I hunt and peck.
Got it.
And, there's chronic and there's acute and all that. But generally they have to be better before they leave my office.
Got it.
A chronic injury may not heal in one visit, obviously, right? But this technique and what I've done with it is really conducive for sports injuries.
100%.
Because you have to address the alignment of the ankles, the knees, the hips, elbows, all of it.
Yep.
So if you don't live in my area, you could go on the activator.com website and find a location doctor near you. You
Okay.
put in a zip code and they find a doctor near you.
Oh, nice.
And you want to go to an advanced proficiency rated doctor, and those are usually the top of the list.
Okay. And that was activator.com.
Mm-hmm.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And how do people follow you online?
Okay, so I have Innovative Quantum Wellness, which is a quantum healing center that has many things. If you go on my website, you'll see. But one of them is athletic longevity.
Okay.
But for social media and stuff like that, is the System OC.
The System
because
OC.
I have a quantum healing system, but we tag the System OC with Innovative Quantum Wellness now.
Okay.
But to follow me on Instagram or TikTok or whatever would be the System OC.
The System OC also. And then if they're in Orange County, how do they find you?
Well, my website is innovativequantumwellness.com. I'm
There you go.
in Newport Beach, 3900 Birch Street, Suite 101.
There you go.
Near the John Wayne Airport, so it's really close.
Yep.
Off all the freeways.
Yeah.
And my phone number is 949-637-2727 is my business cell phone, and
Cool.
I text mostly. If you call, I return your call, but love to have all the appointments scheduled on text.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Dr. Jody, thanks for joining us on Pickleball Recovery.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Woohoo.
Come check me out.
Thanks so much for listening. Did you know there's one place on the web for all your recovery needs? It's at www.pickleballrecovery.com. You'll find all the products I personally use and recommend, along with exclusive discounts on many of them, as well as my blog where I help you make sense out of all the different products and practices out there to keep you moving and feeling better so you play better. After all, your body is the most expensive piece of equipment you own. Also, do you want to know the number one mistake picklers make that leads to increased pain, soreness, stiffness, and injury? Just head over to pickleballrecovery.com and download my free guide to playing with less pain and more enjoyment. Listen, pickleball makes us feel young at heart, but not young in body. So go download my free guide at www.pickleballrecovery.com. See you next time.